Hello and welcome to the small presentation on reservation for economically weaker section. I am Sandeep Mukherjee from New Delhi. I am working as Deputy Secretary in the Government of India in the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and I profusely thank GPARD for inviting me to address you on this topic for economically weaker section and their reservation in government jobs. Now, the very brief history of economically weaker section is like this, that it was introduced first time in the year 1990. Yes, you heard me right. It was in the year 1990 when it was introduced first by the Government of India by issuing an order, and it was basically the government of the Congress government headed by late Shri Narasimha Rao, whose government introduced this. And what happened was, immediately after issuing this, there was earlier an order on 27% reservation for OBC. So these two issues reached the Supreme Court, whether reservation for 27% OBC is correct or not, and whether 10% reservation which was introduced by the government then is correct or not. So Supreme Court held the reservation for OBC is constitutional. However, Supreme Court held that the reservation for economically weaker section is not supported by any provision of the Constitution. In other words, since there was nothing in the Constitution, the Supreme Court interpreted enabled the government to provide reservation only for socially backward classes, those who are socially backward. In the eyes of the society, they are backward. But economically weaker section was other than socially backward. Therefore, the Supreme Court struck it down and the government did not do anything further till the NDA government came and decided to introduce the reservation for economically weaker section again in the year 2019. However, the government was aware that the Supreme Court had struck down this reservation earlier. So this time the government first amended the Constitution and inserted one clause, which was clause 6 below Article 16. I am sure the other faculty before me must have talked about the constitutional provision, and you have seen that basically the Article 16 is concerned with reservation. It is clause 4 and clause 5, but clause 6 was added. Now, I would like to show you the clause 6. Clause 6 says that nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any provision for reservation of appointments or posts in favor of any economically weaker section. So it talks about economically weaker section. Please note that this economically weaker section, who are they? As the clause 6 makes it very clear, they are other than the classes mentioned in clause 4. Now you know, in clause 4 what has been mentioned is basically scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and OBC. So from this you can immediately see that economically weaker sections are other than scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, which today we can call as general category. So they are general category people for whom reservation has been provided 10%. Before this there was no reservation for general category people, but this is the first step of providing reservation for general category people, but who are economically weaker. And this reservation is in addition to the existing reservation. Kindly see, in addition to the existing reservation and subject to a maximum of 10%. So it is a maximum 10% reservation can be provided. In other words, reservation for SC, ST put together, at least in the central government, is 49.5. Goa, it is different. Goa, you have reservation for scheduled caste, I think it is 2%, scheduled tribe is 12%, and OBC is 27%. This is Goa. In Government of India, this is scheduled caste is 15%, scheduled tribe is 7.5%, and OBC is 27%. On top of this, there is reservation for economically weaker section for 10%. Same in Goa also, you have applied reservation of 10%. So, with this background, this is the constitutional background of constitutional provisions relating to reservation for EWS. So, kindly note that the reservation for EWS has a constitutional backing. Now, today what we are going to discuss is, with reference to the Government of India's order dated 19th January 2019, we are going to discuss who is a person belonging to EWS. We are going to discuss what is the quantum of reservation. We will also discuss the criteria for being included in the economically weaker section, and then what is the format, who will sign the certificate, all these things. So, let us come to who is a person belonging to EWS. As I have told you, he is a person who is neither SC nor ST or OBC. So, he is neither SC, ST nor OBC. That means he is a category belonging to general category, but who is poor, in the sense whose family has gross annual income of less than 8 lakhs. So, one of the criteria, I am not saying all the criteria, it is one of the criteria is that his family should not have a gross annual income of more than 10 lakh, it has to be less than 10 lakh, I am really sorry, less than 8 lakhs. In that case, he will fall under economically weaker section. In other words, the scheduled caste, if he is poor, cannot be given a certificate of economically weaker section. Suppose a scheduled tribe, he is very poor, below poverty line, he is begging on the streets, but he cannot be given the reservation benefit of EWS because it is meant for other than SC, ST, OBC. Now, income shall be the income prior to the year of application. So, when you are applying today for EWS certificate, we will see the income prior to this financial year. As you know, income is always calculated financial year wise, so it is previous financial year. Now, for the purpose, family for this purpose, when we said gross annual income of the family, so family for this purpose means self, parents, siblings below 18 years of age, spouse, children below 18 years of age. That means the income, my own income will also be seen for the purpose whether I am economically weaker or not. Kindly note, this is interesting, this is very, very interesting, because for the purpose of OBC, we do not see the income of the candidate. Suppose tomorrow a OBC candidate applies for my Government of Goa job and he declares his income as 1 crore per month. He will not fall under creamy layer, because we will see not his income, but his parents' income, his father's income, his mother's income. But in the case of economically weaker section, we will see the income of the candidate also in deciding whether he is economically weak or not. And this leads to a very strange situation when, let us say, a candidate who is very poor applies for a job and he is selected at the level of, let us say, something like assistant group B officer in the Government of Goa. So, you will find that his salary would increase, will be more than at least 4-5 lakh. And if you add some 2-3 lakh, 4 lakh of his parents' income also, he would be out of the ambit of economically weaker section. But this will not happen in the case of OBC. OBC's personal income will not be seen, his own salary etc. will not be seen for deciding whether he is OBC or not. It is only his parents' income that will be seen. Similarly, suppose a OBC girl marries somebody who is very rich. So, we will not see the husband's income. Husband may be earning crores of rupees per month, but we will see the girl's father income in deciding the OBC category. But in the case of EWS, it is interesting, we will see the income of the candidate, we will also see the income of the spouse. So, the husband, I am not trying to be sexist in my remarks, but I am saying it could be the other way around. Suppose the husband applies for a job, he is very poor, but his wife is earning more than 8 lakh rupees per annum. So he cannot get the benefit of reservation for economically weaker section. Quite a funny situation, a little, there is little humor in it. I hope you will take my humor in the right perspective, and I am not trying to be making any remarks which is trying to offend anybody, but the point is there is a big difference between reservation for OBC and reservation for EWS. Similarly, income of the children below 18 years of age will also be taken into account. That means, suppose I am an economically weaker section candidate, my own income is, let us say, 0 per month, but my child is a film star, or he is a TV serial star and earning a lot of money. He is below 18 years of age. I will see his income, and the father will not fall under economically weaker section category anymore. So this is basically the criteria of who is EWS. Now coming to the income, income shall include income from all sources. When we will see the income of the candidate or the family, we will see income from all sources. One, salary; second, any income from business of the family; any income from agriculture of the family or the candidate; and any income from the any other profession. His father is, let us say, an artist or a painter or a dentist or a doctor or an architect, etc. And finally, one beautiful word in English, when you want to always declare or define something, do add etc. It is a very fine word in English, etc., which we called in Hindi ityadi, ityadi, ityadi. Very fine word, it covers God knows everything. So tomorrow in this etc., many things could be covered. So income would mean salary, business, agriculture, profession, etc. Then it is not only the income which matters in the case of EWS. He may not have any income, but if he has an asset, that would also be applicable for deciding whether he is EWS or not. So a person whose family owns or possesses any of the following: 5 acres of agricultural land or more, residential flat of 1000 square feet and above, residential plot of 100 square yard and above, but in notified municipalities, or a residential plot of 200 square yards and above in areas other than notified municipalities. So this is interesting again. So his income may be 0, but if he has an agricultural land more than 5 acres from which he may not be earning any income, even then he will fall under EWS category. Similarly, let us say he has a residential plot in Panjim, 200 square yards or more. So he will fall under the category of non-EWS. So he will not be given the benefit of, he will not be issued the certificate, etc. Now the property held by the family in different locations or different places or cities would be clubbed while applying the land or property holding test to determine the EWS status. So he may have a land not only in Panjim, he may have lands in, let us say, Mumbai, or let us say in Karnataka. That will also be, and this is not the land or property by the candidate, it is property by the entire family. Family, you remember, means the spouse, the parents, children below 18 years of, even siblings. Even my brother who is below 18 years, he has a plot of land somewhere, it will be taken into account. Now the income and asset certificate to be issued to him should be certified by not below the rank of Tehsildar, and the format has been prescribed. Let us very quickly see what is the format. The format was prescribed by the Government of India via their office memorandum dated 31st January 2019. So there are 2 office memorandums which are issued. One was on 15th January and again another was on 31st January, which provide detailed of reservation. And in this office memorandum there is an annexure 1. We will see what is the annexure 1 that provides the format. So this is the annexure 1, which you can see the format is about income and asset certificate to be produced by economically weaker sections. So it is not only income, asset also. So he may not have any income, but if he falls under the category of assets, then the Tehsildar will have to certify. So, this is saying this is to certify that Shri so and so, son and daughter of so and so, a permanent resident of so and so village, post office so and so, district so and so, in the state of so and so, whose photograph is attested below, belongs to economically weaker section, since the gross annual income of his or her family is below rupees 8 lakh for the financial year, previous financial year. Further, it also says his or her family does not own or possess any of the following assets, more than 5 acres of agricultural land, etc., etc., etc. And further it will say Shri so and so belongs to this caste, which is not recognized as scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other backward classes of the central list. So, it will clearly declare what is his caste, and the Tehsildar or the district authority, revenue authorities who will issue the certificate will certify that he does not belong to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe or the other backward classes. This is to ensure that there is no confusion. So, SC, ST, OBCs do not by mistake are issued the EWS certificate. Am I clear on this? At this here will be the photograph and signature and seal of the officer who will sign it. Kindly note, these are only revenue authorities of the state governments. That means a gazetted officer or a school principal or a MLA or an MP, they cannot issue a scheduled caste, scheduled tribe certificate or even an economically weaker section certificate. It has to be a revenue authority. Only they can certify these details. Nobody else can certify these details. Now, let us come back to what is the quantum of reservation and how to give reservation, how to effect reservation for EWS. Quantum is very simple. I have told you 10% reservation for economically weaker section. Then this reservation is applicable only on direct recruitment vacancies, not on promotion. So, only in direct recruitment vacancies, that also to be notified after or on 19th January. So, on or after 19th January 2019, any vacancy which you are going to advertise must have provision for reservation for economically weaker section. Before 19th January 2019, if you have already advertised any vacancy, that will not, there is no requirement of providing reservation for economically weaker section there. Now, reservation rosters will have to be recast because 10% reservation has come. So, you will have to write the new points in the reservation roster which are earmarked for economically weaker section. Now, if a candidate suitable for reserved post of EWS is not available, there is no need to keep it vacant. Please note this point, very important point, that if a candidate suitable for reserved post of EWS is not available, it can be filled by a non-EWS candidate. That means, if you have advertised a vacancy for EWS and you do not find a EWS candidate, no problem, you do not have to keep it vacant. You can then select the person with the highest number available and recruit him in the post of, in the vacancy that you have advertised. Let us take an example to understand this. Let us say that government of Goa in some department had advertised, let us say, keep it very simple, let us say they have advertised two vacancies of let us say one data entry operator, and out of these two vacancies, one is for unreserved and one is for economically weaker section. So, there are two vacancies you have advertised and one for unreserved, one for economically weaker section. The following candidates which I am writing below have qualified in the written examination of 100 marks. Now, these are the candidates who have qualified: A, B, C, D, E, these are their names and these are their marks out of 100. A has secured 98 marks, B has secured 96, like this. Now, we have to select only two candidates because we have two vacancies. Now, out of this, let us say this E is an economically weaker section candidate. So, now you can see who will be selected. A will be selected and E economically weaker section candidate would be selected. Of course, B will not be selected that year, C will not be selected, D will not be selected because their marks are not very high. So, A would go into the unreserved category here and E would go into the economically weaker section category. But suppose in this examination no EWS candidate qualifies and this Mr. E is not, let us say, economically weaker, he is a general candidate. Now, if E is a general candidate, he is not economically weaker section. In other words, you don't have any economically weaker section candidate who have qualified. Now, you can see that A of course will be selected against UR, but now B would be selected. You don't have to keep this post vacant. There is no need to keep this vacant. So, there is no need to keep the EWS vacant just because there is no EWS available. You will select Mr. B and Mr. B will now be selected as the EWS candidate, not as the EWS candidate against the vacancy reserved for EWS. In other words, you will fill up both the vacancies. So, two candidates will be given the offer appointment, Mr. A and Mr. B, A with 98 marks and B with 96 marks. But kindly note, this reservation for EWS will not lapse. If this is the year 2021, you will carry it forward to the next year in the year 2022. And in the next year, if two vacancies again arises, or let us say three vacancies arises in data entry operator, let us say all three are unreserved, then out of three, two will be UR, but one will be reserved for economically weaker section because you could not reserve this vacancy last year, you could not find a candidate last year. So, it will be carried forward to the subsequent year. In our example, the subsequent year is 2022, and in 2022 you will now advertise three vacancies of data entry operator, two for UR, one for EWS. So, EWS vacancies do not lapse, they will be carried forward. So, this is what I meant when I said if a candidate suitable for reserved post of EWS is not available, it can be filled by a non-EWS candidate. Kindly see, the non-EWS candidate does not mean a general candidate, he could be anybody, he could be a scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, anybody with the highest marks. In other words, suppose B, which we have selected, when no EWS candidate was available, we selected B. Now, it is not necessarily, if B is a scheduled tribe or a scheduled caste or a OBC, we will select him because his marks are highest marks with 96 marks. Of course, just remember one thing, that he should not have availed any relaxation in age or any other relaxation which are meant for SC, ST, OBC. If he is a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe with no relaxation with 96 marks, he will be selected and put here, and EWS reservation would be carried forward to the next year. So, in other words, EWS reservation would be carried forward to the next year and no harm would be caused to the reservation of the EWS. So, that is all. Thank you very much. We will now do a small exercise. You can do that exercise. I will also provide you the answers. Thank you very much.